Schools are typically very noisy places, presenting real challenges for kids with hearing loss. This video will educate you on the benefits and use of a classroom FM system, a technology designed to amplify the teacher's voice. Often, children with hearing loss don't begin school with the same learning fundamentals in place as children with typical hearing. Depending on their level of hearing loss and other factors, their language development and vocabulary may be delayed, and their listening and speaking comprehension may lag. Many of these children simply don't have the language foundation to fill in the blanks in difficult hearing situations, and they won't even know what they missed. Early intervention is key to minimizing delays. Improved hearing, including the use of a classroom FM system, will help children with hearing loss develop language and listening skills so they can get on a solid, firm foundation for learning and literacy that is so important in the coming school years. Most likely, you've already heard of the term FM system. There are other technologies including digital sound, Bluetooth, and infrared. For the sake of simplicity, we'll refer to all of them as FM or classroom amplification systems. FM systems have been used in the classroom in one form or another since back in the 1940s. Today, they've evolved to use wireless technology to transmit the teacher's voice across distance through background noise so that a student wearing a receiver is able to hear as clearly as if the teacher was standing right next to them. It's like putting a spotlight on the speaker, just like a speaker using a microphone to be heard in a large, noisy auditorium. While there are many makes and models available, all FM systems consist of two basic parts: the transmitter, which is worn by the teacher to pick up his or her voice, and the receiver, which is at the other end to receive the sound of that voice. Some receivers are very small and attached directly to a child's hearing aid, so that only that child hears the signal, and other receivers are large speakers that everyone in the class can hear. More on that later. First, let's listen to the difference an FM system, when properly used, can make.
The first example we're going to show you today is to help you understand what a child with a hearing loss hears in the classroom with an FM system and what he would hear if we didn't turn the FM system on.
So let's get it going.
The teacher in this classroom has forgotten to put on his FM microphone. Without the microphone turned on, it's almost impossible for a child with a hearing loss to hear clearly. Let's listen to what a child with a hearing loss will hear with the FM unit turned off.
I know that we had written down at least 2 or 3 ideas each, and we had written them down in our notebooks. So if everybody remembered to bring their notebooks with them, you can reach in your...
Without an FM system on, the child is going to be hearing very muffled speech, or like they're listening from a very great distance. Forgetting to turn on the FM system can happen to anybody, but don't count on the student to tell you if it's not working. Look for visual clues that he's confused, or watch the student trying to look around to see what's happening in the classroom. After a quick check, the teacher can turn on the microphone, check with the student, and make sure that all is working well.
Okay, good.
That gets the student back on track and gets the lesson going in the right direction.
We sounding okay now? Okay. So
once the FM system is turned on, the student is hearing as if the teacher was standing right next to his ear.
Generated a list of which jobs were important.
Why are FM systems so important to young children starting school? Research was conducted to measure the ability of students with moderate hearing loss to repeat back a list of one-word syllables under different listening conditions. In the quiet room, analogous to a library, students with hearing loss were only able to identify 83% of the words, compared to children with typical hearing who could hear 100%. Already, children with hearing loss are at a disadvantage. In a noisier typical classroom setting, they only identified 53% of the words correctly, and in a gymnasium where sound and echo make hearing extremely difficult, they could only repeat back 11% of the words. Obviously, this puts students with hearing loss at a real disadvantage at school. In typical classrooms, the level of the teacher's voice is often less than the level of the noise in the room. Science tells us that children with hearing loss need the teacher's voice to be at least 15 decibels louder than the classroom noise in order for them to hear it. That's where an FM system helps. It will boost the teacher's voice to an appropriate level. To help decide whether an FM system is needed and what model is most appropriate, we rely on the ready, set, listen model. We need to think about the student, the environment, and the teacher, and how they all interact. When it comes to the student, the factors we need to consider include how much hearing loss the child has and the type of technology they are using. For example, hearing aids or cochlear implants. We also need to consider their age, their listening, language and academic abilities, and the degree of their self-advocacy skills. Are they able to manage the equipment on their own and tell you if it's not working?
Danger, danger, animals in danger.
The E in environment refers to the characteristics of the learning environment. This is something that changes constantly. Students with hearing loss may understand speech quite easily in one environment and then have extreme difficulty moments later simply because the environment changed. For example, a caretaker may turn on a floor polisher or a lawnmower might start up outside.
What do you think these are examples of? Raymond?
The hearing environment is affected by distance, noise, and echo. Distance, or how far away the listener is from the sound source, sounds like common sense. The sound gets softer the further away you get. But it's easy to underestimate the effect of distance on students with hearing loss. Hearing aids and cochlear implants use microphones that are not as sensitive as human ears. They don't have the same pickup range, so distance has a greater impact for children with hearing loss. Let's hear how distance affects a child wearing hearing aids.
I'm going to demonstrate the effects of distance on hearing. So at this point, I'm standing quite close to the microphone of the hearing aid, and it's quiet in here. So you should find my voice is quite easy to hear and understand. This rarely happens in a real classroom, though. Typically, a teacher is more at a distance from the student. And so I'm going to demonstrate what happens when I walk away from the student. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. And everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. So here at a distance of about 10 feet, you should find that my voice is more difficult to hear and a little less intelligible. So let's see what happens when I walk closer again. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. And everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Here I am again at an optimal distance from the hearing aid in a quiet environment, and you should find my voice is quite easy to understand.
Another environmental factor is background noise. Have you ever tried to have a conversation in a crowded, noisy restaurant? Think of how difficult it is for someone with a hearing loss. Noise blurs the sound at the beginning and end of words, especially soft consonants. Words like cat, cap, and cast might be indistinguishable. In a noisy classroom, a child with hearing loss can have a difficult time distinguishing words and trouble hearing what is said. Let's go back to our example and see the effect of background noise in the classroom.
This time we're going to demonstrate the effects of adding noise into the situation as well. So at this point, I'm quite close to the student's microphone and it's quiet. Let's add in some noise, some busy classroom noise and some noise from a fan, which you might find in a classroom, and see what happens. So I'm going to walk away from the student and see what happens when we add in distance. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack jump over the candlestick. And here I am again at about 10 feet away from the student's hearing aid with noise in the background. And so you can see the effect of adding that noise, which is very typical for a classroom, into the situation. Let me walk closer again and see what happens. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack jump over the candlestick. And here I am again at the optimal distance from the student's hearing aid. And if we turn off the background noise, you should find my voice very easy to understand.
Echo, or reverberation, is another factor that has a huge effect on the listening environment. Think about the school gym. All that reverberant sound bounces off the hard surfaces. Words get distorted by the time they get to your ears, and the echo adds extra background noise. Students with hearing loss will tell you any gym activity is very difficult and extremely tiring because of the extra energy it takes for them to listen under such noisy, reverberant conditions. The good news is that an FM system can really help to reduce all these environmental challenges. Let's listen to the difference an FM system makes in a noisy classroom.
This time I'm going to demonstrate the effects of using the FM system. So I'm going to walk away to a distance, and we'll have some background noise in the classroom, and we'll see what a difference the FM system makes to hearing. So let me walk away. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such sport. And here I am at a distance of about 10 feet again, with noise in the background. And let's turn on the FM system microphone. What a difference that makes in terms of being able to hear. My voice should be loud and clear, even through the distance and even through the background noise. That's the difference that an FM system makes.
The T in Ready, Set, Listen stands for you, the teacher, and what you can do to help. People with hearing loss will tell you that if a speaker has an accent, a high-pitched voice, or if they speak too quickly or too quietly, or if they turn away frequently so their mouth is not visible for lip reading, it's very difficult to understand them. The same goes for teachers. An FM system could be the answer to improve the listening environment so the child with hearing loss is able to hear you clearly, even in a noisy class, even when you turn to write on the blackboard or walk around the room.
So just brainstorm some ideas if you guys want to put up your hands. If you have any ideas of what field trip you would like to go on. Arham?
There are basically two types of FM systems available. First, with a personal FM system, your speech is transmitted directly to the child's hearing aid or cochlear implant, amplifying your voice so he or she can hear it better through their listening device. Sound field systems will transmit your voice to speakers in the room so everyone hears the signal. Speakers come in many shapes and sizes, including laptop screen size and others that are quite tall and need to be mounted or placed on a stand. The microphones you wear can be lapel types, which are attached to your clothing, or boom microphones, which can attach to your ear or worn as a headset. Positioning the microphone correctly is crucial to ensure the best, clearest sound quality. Here's a demonstration of how to wear different types of microphone transmitters. Lapel microphones are worn at chest level. It's important to place these in the correct spot with the correct orientation. Place it directly below your mouth, using an open-fisted hand to estimate the correct distance. Be sure you don't bend your head when measuring, or you'll place the lapel mic too far away. Make sure the mic is facing up, towards your mouth, not bent towards one side or turned down. Attach it to your clothing directly below your mouth, not on a sweater or lapel, as it would now be off to the side and the sweater may flip back and stop picking up your voice. Lapel mics work best when you're facing forward when you speak. If you turn your head, you will no longer be speaking directly into the mic, and sound quality may be compromised. Boom microphones are placed over your ear and adjusted to fit securely. Often, they will come with a clip that you can attach to your clothing to further secure it in place. The microphone should be suspended in front of your mouth. The advantage of this type is that as you turn your head, the microphone will follow your mouth, so you will always be speaking directly into it. Boom microphones can also be headsets, which are placed behind your head, under your hair, and then placed over your ears to fit in place. Adjust the microphone arm to position the mic close to your mouth, but slightly lower so you don't cover your mouth. It's important to position it properly so the student will be able to lip read. This type of mic will also follow you as you turn, picking up your voice the same way even when you turn to the side. When the FM system uses a component that the student wears, there are a few things to remember. Some personal FM systems work off the child's hearing aid batteries or cochlear implants, which will drain power faster. Be sure they always have extra batteries at school.
Okay, can you put that away for me?
Larger FM systems often use rechargeable batteries on both the transmitter and the receiver, which need to be charged every night. Receivers can be very small and expensive, costing as much as $5,000, so keep them in a safe place so they don't get lost or stolen. Don't let the students stick them in their pockets.
So I want you to take your receivers off, okay?
Ask your teacher of the deaf or hard of hearing for advice on when and if the student's receiver should be removed. Children who wear larger types around their neck typically take it off for recess, lunch, and gym, and always before going home at the end of the day.
Right, so we're going to take your receivers off for the end of the day.
For smaller receivers that are attached to hearing aids or cochlear implants, it often makes more sense to just leave them attached throughout the day and then remove them before the student leaves school for the day.
You zip it up so they're nice and safe.
With sound-filled systems, finding the right location for the receiver is often the hardest part. Your teacher of the deaf or hard of hearing can help you with the initial setup of the FM system, but you'll want to ensure it's in a safe, unobstructed place where it won't be knocked or bumped into. When the system is set up, the volume will be set and generally doesn't need to be changed. It's designed to enhance your voice, and louder does not always mean better. If you feel the volume has to be changed or it gets adjusted by accident, you'll need 2 people to make the adjustment. 1 person to talk into the microphone and a second to listen and adjust the volume. Don't try to do it all yourself, or you'll set the volume too high. If the system feeds back, producing a high squealing noise when you get close to the receiver, it usually means the volume is set too high. If the speaker is placed correctly, you should be able to walk within 2 feet of the receiver without getting any feedback. If the system feeds back often, or if you find yourself avoiding certain areas in the class, there is a problem. Ask for help from the teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing to fix it. Some students may not feel comfortable telling you when they're having difficulty hearing, so watch for signs that the FM system isn't working properly. If you notice the child with hearing loss no longer paying attention or becoming fidgety, check to see that the FM system is working. Now, here are a few ideas to help you make sure a child with hearing loss is able to hear their classmates, too. If available for activities when other students are speaking, like show and tell, use a pass-around microphone. They will typically come with a sound-filled speaker system.
Can you look at David? David, what do you want to ask Ben?
If you don't have a pass-around mic, you can share the FM system's microphone with the students who are speaking, and ask students to stand when they speak and repeat what they say to make sure everyone hears what's going on.
Oh, can you say that again for him? Okay, let's move you in closer.
You can also make sure the chairs and desks in the class are arranged so that the student with hearing loss has a good view of everyone.
So just brainstorm some ideas if you guys want to put up your hands.
Remember, the teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing at your school is a great resource. They possess much knowledge to help you work with a child who has a hearing loss, so talk with them to get even more ideas of how you can help. Classrooms are busy, dynamic places where lots of exciting things happen, but are often less than ideal listening environments for children with hearing loss. Use the power of technology to enhance the child's ability to be a more successful, confident, and active member of your class. It can really make a difference in that child's life.